South shore of Nassau County as we come to you from Baldwin High School in Baldwin, New York, where tonight Verizon 5af1 Sports brings you Long Island High School boys lacrosse. It's a non-conference matchup as the Baldwin Bruins take on the Roslyn Bulldogs as both teams coming in looking for their first wins of the season at 0-3. And with that, hello and welcome on Verizon 5af1 Sports. Alongside former Sachem High School coach Rick Mercurio, I'm Ralph Bednarczyk. So, Rick, the weather has finally subsided. No more nor'easters. Spring sports have finally gotten a chance to get going here in the island, including in the lacrosse game. Both these programs have gotten 3 games now under their belts. Now it's a chance to establish some rhythm, get their seasons moving forward, and try to build their cases towards making the playoffs, something they both expect to do.
Well, both of these programs schedule a very competitive non-league, non-conference schedule. They know with less than a week to go, it's go time. They got to start getting ready for conference play. Somebody will walk away with a win today.
And for Roslyn, this has been one of Long Island's best lacrosse stories. 13-3 last year, second most wins ever. And this is a program that continues to find some building blocks like senior midfielder Jake Steffen. That's been a big part of their grove the last several years.
Jake Steffen is a player. He's a 3-year starter, 2017 All-County player, 2017 He led this team in scoring, 37 goals, 28 assists. He's big, he's strong, he can go to the cage, but he could also dish the ball off.
And for Baldwin, they compete in Nassau County's Class A among some of the superpowers on the island. They're looking to build around several young players that are anchoring their seniors, like their 3-year starting goalie and at times attackman in Jared Tiong-Smith.
It's a very unusual goalie we're going to see here today. He's outstanding. A 2-year All-County player, great stopper. When he comes up with the ball, he can clear it. He may run down the field. At times, Ralph, he'll come out and play defense on an attacker. Here's one for you that you're going to see today. He plays extra man.
It's remarkable. Tiong-Smith, a part of a great group of 5 athletes that will play college lacrosse next year for Baldwin. It's a very good non-conference tune-up for 2 teams with league play less than a week away. Roslyn and Baldwin is coming up next on Verizon 5af1 Sports. Defense tremendous with Bell, DeRoche, and Romero. In goal, here's Jared Tiong-Smith, a 3-year starter, 4 years on the varsity. 5 more saves against Long Beach, 11 saves against Plain Edge. Under head coach Rich Gargiulo in his 17th season coaching the Baldwin Bruins, is a product out of Farmingdale playing for Bob Hartenrath, winning a Nassau County championship back in '91. Roslyn in the black on black, they win the opening face-off. Baldwin in the gold on gold unis. Bob Arabian and Anthony Corvino are our officials. So we talk about this Roslyn team, both programs still looking for their first win, and they've both scheduled tough, and especially it's been so difficult, Rick, to get a rhythm under your belt with so little outside practice time permitted. So we're going to see if the 2 teams can capitalize on several consecutive days of practice ahead of this game.
Absolutely. The weather has been a factor for every team, and especially here at Baldwin where you have natural turf that also influences how often you can get out on the field.
Malcolm Bell defending, and he is headed to Hartford, a terrific senior that the Hawks may have found a real find in and a steal in the recruiting process as Roslyn picks up this loose ball, Ethan Baum, and he'll move it along to the wing where the shot, and it's buried. The shot beats Jared Tiong-Smith, and a good look from the wing. Roslyn picks up the goal and lead it 1-0. It's Jake Steffen on his first look.
Jake Steffen did a real nice job here. He had some time and room, but watch where he places this ball. Picks it up, he shoots it straight overhand and buries it opposite and away. Real nice shot from where he was.
And Steffen has certainly been the poster boy of this Roslyn program and what has been good in terms of the development of it. Jesse Sorensen saw Jake in 8th grade. Then he had his heart broken finding out he's going to Kellenberg. That's where he spent his freshman year. But then he transferred back to his home school district, and he's been a starter ever since. And he's going to play in Division III SUNY Geneseo, and one of the few Roslyn players that has moved on to playing college, and they hope that he will spark kind of the interest of playing in college for the next generation. Another face-off win for Roslyn as they get it ahead to Steffen. But tough work by Jack Fine, who's a sophomore midfielder, as Jesse Sorensen thought there could have been a call there, as he was leveled getting the pass out.
Yeah, right there, right along that sideline. It did look like a loose ball push at least, but the official did a nice job by holding his whistle and letting him play on and not taking the clear away from Roslin.
So Roslin with another possession as they dodge against the D-Mini here with Steffen. Steffen is able to shake free, then takes the shot, and it goes wide. Tough defense by David Garcia.
To his advantage right there. He just dipped his shoulder in, knocking the defender over, and freed himself up for a shot.
Roslin with Ethan Gatto. And the pass back behind, knocked away. Gabe DeRoche, who's only a sophomore, as he looks to deal it back to Jared Tiong-Smith, and he'll get it to him. And now the Roslin ride will begin. But Tiong-Smith has as much freedom as any goalie out there, but he turns it over. Roslin on the takeaways. They push with Ryan Hurwitz. And Hurwitz a little unsettled, and there is Tiong-Smith able to intercept. And we talked about that great leash that Rich Gorgiulo has given him. We'll talk more as we go on the broadcast, and we will see Jared Tiong-Smith do something very unique. He'll play as an attackman in a man-up situation, among other things, including stay out defensively.
Well, you'll see the number 23. He's a large presence out there. He does not stay in between those pipes for long. Makes a save, comes out, and he cleared the ball right up to the midfield line there. He'll play defense, and he'll play extra man offense as well.
So Baldwin with their first possession, as it's held here by David Garcia. He was awarded the prestigious number 22 in his senior year, a 4-year starter that will play in Division II Wingate. Rob Powell, the former Dowling head coach, Tinny Boyle, as Garcia holds.
You'll see. I'm sorry, Ralph.
And that was in honor of the late, great Will Barrow that tragically passed away nearly 10 years ago now while he was at the University of Virginia. There's a shot wide by Dylan Ferguson. And Baldwin will keep it.
I was about to say, Ralph, that on both these teams you'll see some interesting situations that you normally don't see. For example, Garcia will play long stick on man down. So you're going to see different sticks going in and out of these boxes and plenty of players changing positions.
So unique, and we'll even see the backup goalie in those instances where Baldwin come on. There's a Baldwin turnover. And Roslin will pick it up as they'll outlet through for Matt Luckman.
One of the concerns for Roslin is their ability to clear effectively.
Have a quick look at our keys to the game, Rick.
Okay, for Roslin, successful clearing. As we were just saying, they've been having difficulty on clearing. They want to do better today. Patience on offense. The strength of Baldwin's team is in their poles and middies. Roslin does not want to get into a track meet with them. For Baldwin, limit defensive penalties. Their defensive players are very good, but they're very aggressive. They want to stay out of the bad board box today. Convert possessions into goals. The Bruins have scored 12 goals in 3 games. They must capitalize on what the defense gives them. More importantly, they must find the right mix between not forcing shots and playing aggressively to the cage.
And those are our Verizon Fios One Sports keys to the game. Here's David Garcia after Baldwin turned it over. That finished up their first offensive possession. And into the stick of Dylan Ferguson. He, like David Garcia, both 5-year varsity guys, 4-year starters. And for Rich Gargiulo, it's kind of as he described it, it's kind of a funny mix. You have 5 seniors that will play college lacrosse next year, but behind them, there's a lot of youth and inexperience that they're trying to build and grow. Ferguson fakes a couple of shots, then the shot is low, save made by Luckman, but the flag is out, and Baldwin will go man up.
It was a good shot off of the penalty, the late penalty on that. You'll see it right here on the call. You're going to see the slash right there. Oh, yeah, you got him up high. A good shot off of the flag right there. You had a situation where once the flag is thrown, he came around, take that free shot, let it go. Ferguson did a nice job with that shot. It was a good save.
Ferguson, a 2-time all-conference performer. And he has had teams focus on him the last couple of years. 53 points as a sophomore, down to 40 points last year. And here are the Bruins, man up for the first time. So there on the right wing is Tiong-Smith, the goalie turned attackman. Feed inside, Darrell Haynes could not finish the shot as his hands were tied up. And Baldwin will keep possession.
You'll also see, Ralph, on this extra man, you have number 21 in there playing long stick extra man. So you have a goalie, converted goalie, playing an extra man, and also a long stick. Very unusual situation here for extra man.
Yep, we'll talk more about that as Jordan Arbowet, the starting long stick midi that's going to Malloy. As here's Christian Vera, he'll play on the crease. Garcia now to the wing. Ferguson shooting. This is off the stick handle of Luckman, and back up belongs, they'll say to Luckman.
Luckman did a nice job there, recognizing that he could get to the end line quicker and get possession of the ball.
So returning to his home and goal is Jared Tiong-Smith. Meanwhile, Lucas Waxberger, who's the backup goalie, so he'll go in and essentially be a placeholder during those times and hand each other sticks. So it's a very creative approach by Coach Rich Gargiulo, but the one he feels gives him the best chance to win. There's a good trail check by Jordan Arbowet to knock the ball free. And here's Arbowet. Coach Gargiulo feels Malloy got a steal, and he's a Division I pole.
He's very aggressive on those checks. He goes out there. He'll play you very tight, try to take the ball away from you. He's not going to play positional. He's going out to effectively take that ball away.
Baldwin with 3 shots on the man up and nothing to show for it. And now they will slow things down with Ronnie Marchese Solano, first-year varsity sophomore midfielder. And along with junior Casey Cummings. And here is Garcia. The dodge against Hurwitz. Cummings into the box, and for Baldwin, as you touched on, Rick, just 12 goals scored by the Bruins through 4 games. And the question is, can they get some of their supporting cast to get more involved? Certainly Garcia and Ferguson are going to be at the top of everybody's scouting reports. Can their 3rd and 4th options produce, especially against quality competition?
You're exactly right, Ralph. We have 5 guys out there, starters, that have experience.
Here's a quick shot by Casey Cummings wide.
Have experience. And then you have 5 guys on that starting team that have limited experience. Some don't have any varsity experience, playing experience. Good look inside.
Good look, and the finish. Daryl Haynes got the pass from Christian Vera. And Baldwin is able to manipulate the Roslyn zone, and they tie the game up at 1.
That was a good look inside, and if you're looking to see how you attack a zone, you dodge from X and look inside for the slide. And right there, you saw a good look, and Haynes was able to take the ball and put it in the cage.
And for Daryl Haynes, a senior that's a lefty, Rich Gargiulo is bringing him along. That's his 2nd career varsity goal. They just needed, Rich felt, to get him 1 goal this year, and the light bulb was going to go off. He didn't pick up lacrosse until just the last couple of years, but he has a lot of potential. Another guy that his growth could do a lot for the rest of his Baldwin team.
Absolutely. You know, there's a lot of mentorship going on here. They want these younger guys to effectively, they got to get into a point now, Ralph, where they're no longer younger. We keep saying younger and experienced. Well, you're 3 games in. Today's your 4th game. You got a week to go before you get in your conference. They all have to pick it up a notch right now and start meshing as a team.
Garcia facing off for Baldwin against Jack Fine of Roslyn, and it's Garcia that comes away with it. Transition chance for Baldwin, but the pass deflected. Good active stick by Roslyn to prevent that. Then the shot inside. Luckman making the save on the doorstep on Nathaniel Holmes.
Luckman did a real nice job there. He stood tall in that cage and effectively took that ball out of the sky.
Roslyn able to get the clear after the Bruins peppering Luckman with 8 shots. And the failed clear by Roslyn. They could not get into the box, and up ahead it's Ferguson.
Well, Coach Sorensen was very, very concerned about his team's ability to clear the ball, and they've been working on it all week. They spent several minutes and hours on it this week trying to clear the ball. You've seen 2 or 3 situations on the clearing where they lost possession of the ball and gave it back to
Garcia. Weaves his way through against the zone, got the shot off.
Back to Baldwin.
And Roslyn, this was something that they've been working on, is putting in a new zone. Recently, they've been in a matchup high-pressure zone with the man-to-man concepts, and that's what they've opened up with. Vera lost the ball, and Roslyn able to Rake the ball forward momentarily, but cannot pick it up. Ball swung out to Garcia. And Garcia off to the hitch, back to his left, shooting, and wide of goal.
Ralph, I'm always concerned when a coach puts in, tells you that they put in a zone this week and they're going to use it. Yeah, I just always felt that putting in a zone takes a long time. I mean, I know you have to put it in at some point during your season and jump in and out of it, and you always have to have a zone because you have to practice against a zone because you'll play teams that have zones. But when you put in a zone and you say, okay, we're going to go out there and use a zone only today, because we learned it this week, zone's very complicated. And you saw that Baldwin was able to capitalize on the zone on the crease, and that's where you'll see your most vulnerable situations on facing a zone.
Ferguson faking the pass, then steps into one. This one knocked down Luckman, and he had big sophomore Matt Foster. He is by far the biggest Roslyn defender, and he showed some courage there standing in to try to at least block the shot.
Well, again, back to a zone. Do not try to use a zone if you don't have a goalie that you are very confident can stop the shots, because you're going to give up shots from the outside, and at best you'll give up a close shot on the crease.
Ethan Gatto's shot fought off there by Tiong Smith, and Baldwin will get it back. Ethan Gatto with that path to goal. So here is Ferguson, and he's able to locate a teammate and look for the clear.
Ferguson's a big athlete out there. You could see how effective he uses his athleticism.
You got it to Julius Watts, second line midi, a sophomore that played a lot last year too. He's out on the field for the first time. And Ferguson committed to play at Division III Hartwick upstate, where he'll join his older brother Sam, that was a fine player at Baldwin too. Timeout Bruins here in late stages of the opening quarter, as we're even up at 1 between these two teams.
See right here, ball pops up, inadvertently comes right to the crease, and Luckman did a great job by standing tall and taking that ball out of the sky. Great save right here. Good shot, but not good enough.
Nathaniel Holmes was the shooter for Baldwin, and Matt Luckman, who made 129 saves last year as the starter, as the Bulldogs went 13-3, 9-0 in Nassau Conference B2. And you think of what does B2 mean? There's B1, which is the top 9 Class B programs based on ability, and then the rest, the next 10 through 20 go down into B2. So the question for Jesse Sorensen was a bit, well, do we move up? We went 9-0 against that quality of competition. Do we go up and battle the Long Beaches, Garden Cities, and Manhassets of the world? And they got the preseason seed for B2, and there's the number 1 spot, or do they move up and be the 9 in B1 with Garden City and so forth? So certainly, as he explained it, it was very interesting as far as how do you develop your program, by winning and maybe winning a number of lopsided games, or do you take a lot of losses lopsided and try to learn that way and build your program?
I love that concept, and not for a better word or phrase, but it's almost a developmental league. And I think that's great. Why go into a league or a conference where you're just getting beat over the head over and over and over again? That does nothing for your program. They could go into a conference where they can be competitive, develop their program, and case in point now, if you want competition, they have enough games they could schedule out of conference. Go and get your competition there.
Yep, you have 9 league games, and you play a total of 6 non-league games. So it's a good opportunity for programs in Nassau County. Suffolk plays 16 regular season games. As Baldwin out of the timeout, they'll keep it here. Ferguson met quickly in the catch by Jake Steffen, who stays in there as a D-midi. And so for the Bulldogs, they've had their chances where they've looked for some quality non-conference wins. A couple of years back, they had a 6-5 loss against Southside. They've been right there with some of the more named programs across Nassau County. And certainly if they came into Baldwin today and beat a so-called big school that's in the middle of the pack of Class A, that would certainly be another real feather in the cap for Jesse Sorensen.
Sure, and right now they're playing a Conference A team on their field, and they're doing a fine job. I mean, it's a 1-1 score, and I know it's early in the game, but they're going to learn. You walk with wise men, you get wiser. But going back to being in the B conference, the B2 conference, you play these non-conference games, you get your competition, see what you have to do, go back into a conference where you can be effectively competitive. I think it's a great, great situation.
Stall warning is on against Baldwin, so they have to keep it in the box, and they did not notice it. Ronnie Marchese Solano stepped out and then tried to get back in. So Roslyn has the defensive stand, and they'll get the ball ahead with Steffen. And for the final 20 seconds of the opening quarter, trying to grab the lead here.
So Baldwin, looking at that zone that Roslyn's using, they're a little bit confused. They're not sure, following the timeout, how to effectively go against that zone.
Steffen shooting wide of goal, but backup belongs to Roslyn with 6 seconds showing.
And this is good for Baldwin, too, because they're going to see other zones as they go along. I know Farmingdale plays a zone. There are several teams that will play a zone. They're going to have to learn how to offensively attack a zone. Right there, the last offensive possession, they were just standing in a circle, basically, and throwing the ball around.
And Baldwin, especially Malcolm Bell, terrific with the ground ball and get it up ahead. So the Bulldogs, they've scored 19 goals through their first 3 games. And they come off of a tight loss to Fairfield Ward, a school in Connecticut, 9-8. And they also put up 10 goals in a loss against St. Dominic's. Steffen, out comes Ryan Hurwitz, and Hurwitz was met very quickly by Casey Cummings, the D-Mini. And now Baldwin, this is where they've been so successful last couple of years in scramble positions with their very athletic defensemen.
So, Ralph, we're seeing a situation here, again, back to being basically positionless offense or team concept. You have Ferguson, number 8. He faced off. He's an attackman. He faced off, and he continues to stay out there playing defensive midfield.
Malcolm Bell will swoop in and pick up this ground ball. This is just his 2nd game of the season, missing the first 2 due to a hamstring issue. One of the top athletes in that position. His feed, though, off the stick of Casey Cummings. And we'll get, looks like a loose ball call against Baldwin.
There's a warding off. He effectively used his arm, pushed away to gain advantage with the ball.
So Roslyn with Hurwitz, and he will deal it back to Matt Luckman. So can the Bulldogs clear? This has been, as Coach Jesse Sorensen said, this is one of our greatest areas of improvement. If we can shore this area up, we can make a big difference towards our program. And they do get the clear here with Ethan Baum stepping into the box.
That's one of those very important stats that colleges have always used it, but high schools are using it more and more, a stat of clears and failed clears, because they're possessions, Ralph. It's just as much as a face-off or a save or a ground ball. You need to clear the ball to get possession on your offensive side.
Here's Ethan Gatto. Jordan Arbouet against the sophomore. But Gatto is a lot like Jake Steffen, and a guy that's been a poster boy for lacrosse in the budding Roslyn community. But it's turned over, and here comes Garcia as he races ahead, pushing transition. Vera, down low comes Haynes. They could not get the pass across. Holmes knocked, or Haynes was the guy on the other side of the crease. It could not be played across by Holmes, and he eventually recovers it.
Yeah, Holmes just took his eye off. He looked to shoot before he had the ball, and he dropped it.
And Ferguson shooting from distance. Missed opportunity for Baldwin there with that 2-on-1 down low.
Yeah, it's one thing you always tell your attackmen, catch the ball first before you shoot it. Yeah, you see it in the NFL with receivers, too. They take their eye off the ball.
Baldwin will bring on freshman midfielder Nick Metzger-Shiro for the first time, number 18, as he sets the pick for Ferguson. And Ferguson taking a couple of passes, gets it to Metzger-Shiro. And the challenge that Rich Gargiulo has put on his senior attackman here, he's always been a great room and time shooter, but now he's got to be able to make his teammates better. Here's a quick shot, and on a nice cut to the middle, Haynes, who swept in front, he missed off goal. And Baldwin will keep it.
Yeah, Haynes had an excellent opportunity to score here, and they're very lucky. Baldwin's very lucky to get this ball back on the shot.
And Haynes is a lefty, and he was able to catch that and move to his strong left hand.
I think Ferguson's looking to challenge the short stick, but he's realizing that the short stick defender's going to let him just go because he's facing a zone and not a man-to-man defense.
So Ferguson, and it's not like a man up too. When you look at this, Rick, with Ferguson, your quarterback of your man-to-man offense, you put him up top in that man-up umbrella.
Yeah, right there. He's a little, I think Baldwin right now is a little bit confused facing the zone of Roslin. See, Roslin's is sloughed in. They're giving you all of the outside. Shot inside.
And then the swing to the front, Christian Vera. On the sneak from behind, he got the feed from Ferguson, and Baldwin does eventually execute against the zone, and they have their first lead.
Well, Roslin fell asleep here, and you effectively tell your defenders, watch the man, watch the ball. See your man, see the ball. They just were ball watching, and were able to sneak it in right here. Very nice job by Baldwin right there.
Christian Vera's third of the season, and he's a junior that had 14 goals, 9 assists last year. And this year, Rich Gargiulo asking him to be much more of a dodger with conviction. Always been a very good shooter, and to be able to add that to his game. Roslin's taken 3 of the first 4 faceoffs. And they go back to Jack Fine with Ferguson again facing off for Baldwin. And a hold to be called against Fine. And here's the other thing that Rich Gargiulo talked about. With a smaller roster, he has so few seniors, so his 5 big seniors are doing so much. In the case of Ferguson and Garcia, not only are they playing at times a two-way game as Baldwin turns it over, but then they've also got to be exhausted. Then they're facing off as well, and that is a true grind in itself. And many times the better teams you're facing, they truly just have a fogo that is fresh, kind of between periods of time.
Yeah, we call it positionless lacrosse. I mean, you're facing off, you're playing man down, you have poles on extra man. Both teams are doing that, and it's effective if you can continue to do that. But what happens is if one team gets ahead of the other, they can wear you down. You know, we mentioned that they have these out-of-conference schedules, and that, the weather has effectively changed their schedules. Some of these teams are playing a lot of games in a little bit of time.
Each team has had 1 game washed out so far. Transition opportunity, and the ball dropped down low. Haynes would have had a layup, and Luckman is fortunate to get on it in his crease.
I like the presence of Luckman in between those pipes. He's very confident and smooth and doesn't get rattled, and he holds his position.
Roslin now trying to clear, bomb, and under heavy pressure is able to get rid of it. And now retreating back behind. All the Bulldogs eventually getting it back to Ethan Baum to quarterback things. It's a 2-1 Baldwin lead. And again, immense pressure by these Baldwin poles as senior Luis Romero is able to jar the ball free. Roslin gets it back, a bit unsettled, as it's carried behind by Ethan Gatto. Good face dodge by Rusnick, and he shoots and scores. Jacob Rusnick.
Rusnick did a nice dodge, redodge, or a hitch and shot. He really did a nice job there. He had the defender coming out at him, got him to commit. You'll see it right here. Over the top pass, beautifully look. Little hitch, dodge, redodge, and then really takes a nice shot down and away.
Great dish from Ethan Gatto, but Jacob Rusnick, who's a 2-year starting attackman, 9 goals last year, and he's able to come through with his first this season. And he came back bigger, faster, and stronger from a year ago. And Roslin has knotted things up at 2. Give a lot of credit, though, from Ethan Gatto that helped spring him.
Yeah, Gatto did a nice job of seeing Rusnick up top.
David Garcia now back in the face-off X for Baldwin. So officially unassisted, but Gatto made the fine look.
Yeah, I've always felt that they really need to change that rule. The rule on the assist, non-assist situation is if you dodge, if the shooter dodges, you can't effectively get the assist. But in a situation like that, it's definitely an assist. But you have to stop it somewhere.
Jordan Arborette pushes. Played across, knocked down very nicely by the Roslin defender. And now Roslyn scrambles to get this ground ball. They cannot. Christian Vera had it for a moment. Jacob Cohen, the 3-year starting long ball for Roslyn, 23 in black, able to jar it free. And on the pickup, finally Matt Foster, and a good timeout by Roslyn. And Coach Jesse Sorensen, they salvaged the possession after the ball was knocked free twice.
That was a good possession timeout. You had a little scrum for the ball right there. Both coaches had their hands ready to
out, judged by the coaches, and you and I both saw Farmingdale, and the question seems, how does the team strategize in terms of making the playoffs when you have such a giant playing in the conference, and it sure seems like everybody's playing for second place?
Yeah, everybody's curve of development as far as the time factor.
Semifinal and championship round. Roslyn using their first timeout, and they will look to get the clear with senior Jordan Klein.
However, calling a timeout, they now have to clear it in a settled situation, something Roslyn's had difficulty doing. Let's see how they do here, Ralph.
They'll go back through Matt Luckman.
They got a 3-4 set up on a clear, 3 defenders down, 4 up on the midline.
Now Baldwin will go on and attack Luckman momentarily. He gets it away to Klein, and his pass will eventually be picked up, and Roslyn fortunate to get it. And now they get finally into the restraining box and do get the clear through Jacob Cohen, the long ball.
Little sloppy, but they still got it done.
And now the Bulldogs offensively. Jake Steffen. And Steffen with Bell defending, 6 of 8 so far for Roslyn in clearing it. Steffen trying to turn the corner, and Bell over his hands prevented that. And now Bell jars it free.
Bell comes after you, huh?
Yeah, he's relentless, as Rich Gargiulo talked to me about him. Relentless on-ball defender. Just a super athlete, too. As Baldwin will get the ball back off the turnover.
So that would be a situation, Ralph, where if I had my players on the field and I saw a player like Bell, we would have a call. It would be called dish. You catch that ball, he's on you, and I don't think that it's a good matchup dish. You just transfer the ball. Let's get it down the field. Let's move it to somebody else.
Between him and Jordan Arbrouet, they give the Bruins an opportunity to defend those high-caliber teams. Then you factor in the 2 inexperienced defensemen in sophomore Gabe DeRoche and Luis Romero that Rich Gargiulo says if they've started to come along, you could see how the Bruins, in front of goalie Jared Tiong-Smith, they have a team on the defensive end of the field that they could win or compete with in Conference 1.
Good look in his side here.
Watts down low, cutting to the front. Quick shot save is made by Luckman, stopping Darrell Haynes.
It looks like Baldwin is starting to look to the wings and inside, and they're starting to figure out a little bit of the zone as the game progresses here.
So Ferguson with Garcia out on the wing. And Garcia again tries to bulldodge his way through. May have forced the shot. Loose ground ball. Foster will leave it for his goalie Luckman in the crease.
Yeah, Luckman again in the right spot picks up that ball that was missed. It was a dodge. It's tough to dodge a zone from up top. You're just going to draw a slide right away. You want to dodge and then pass the ball.
Ryan Hurwitz, a 4-year varsity player, but first year starting. Came all the way back from a concussion suffered last year. And probably would have been a starter then in the midst of his best season.
Yeah, they're glad to see him back on the field and healthy.
Hurwitz, good feed across, and it was just off of his attackman stick, and Tiong-Smith is able to recover it for Roslyn. He had Jacob Rusnick all alone.
A little bit low. The pass was a little bit low, but Rusnick should have been able to handle it.
So Garcia for Baldwin, with the defense still unsettled.
Got a 2-on-1 on this side.
And off the skip pass, not shooting, was Casey Cummings. So Baldwin will elect to play some more settled 6-on-6.
So there's a situation where you're talking about 5 experienced players and 5 that may not have much experience. Sometimes you'll see a player take the ball and you'll see another player open, but maybe decides, okay, let's hold on to it. I think that might have been the situation there, Ralph.
Ferguson here on the sweep. Haynes again shooting off goal. So Darrell Haynes, who is a lefty that they're bringing him along, he's already scored his first of the season. And he looks like he's going to be an important factor today in dissecting the zone.
Yeah, he's developing nicely as the season progresses, so will he, and he'll get to be a very, very good player.
Ball on the ground, and it will be
Baldwin's ball.
Looks like the Roslyn attackman stepped across, so the Bulldogs lose the opportunity to battle for that loose ball. As we're under 2 minutes to go in this opening half, tying up at 2.
Defensive battle right now, Ralph.
Yeah, both teams have not been in any offensive rhythm. Here is a flag out as Ferguson was slashed. Dylan Ferguson
good look
skips
there.
it across Garcia. As Garcia weaves his way through, and his shot well off goal, and a second flag is coming out. So Baldwin looks like they're going to go on a 6-on-4 in a moment.
6-on-4. You got to practice this a lot. You don't realize you're going to get in this situation early in the season. Hopefully both teams will practice it. See it here? I think we're going to get 2 slashes here. First slash just happened right before. There it is right there. You had it right before that. Then you get the pass down, little dodge here, and on the dodge you got the slash.
Each are 1-minute slashes against Roslyn. The defenseman, Matt Foster, 6'2 defenseman coming off the field. Then D-Mitty, Ryan Hurwitz.
Yeah, with 2 boys in the bad boy box. Right before half here, we have 1:22 left.
Rich Gargiulo will keep to his usual recipe of long pole midi. Jordan Arbouet playing in the middle of this man up, and then goalie Jared Tiong Smith. Here he is picking up the short stick, and his shot is off goal. Recovered behind by Christian Vera. Tiong Smith has already scored a goal this season, or 2 goals already this season, one against Plain Edge, one against Seaford. And Tiong Smith will pick this ball up, and Rich Gargiulo of Baldwin wants to use the time. Tiong Smith, amazing
Equipment, bag, balls, helmet, and he's in a car seat.
Tiong Smith shooting, and he hits the shot. That's why he plays man up. Jared Tiong Smith, amazingly, the starting Baldwin goalie, as his 3rd of the season.
Yeah, again, you want to put the ball in the.
He goes back between the pipes, and Jared Tiong Smith, and he is not. Rich Gargiulo was a couple of years ago thought about it and then decided, you know what, he gives us a chance on man up against some competition to put him out there.
Use your best players where they're going to be most effective. If that's what it takes, you do it.
Garcia loses the faceoff to Jack Fine of Roslyn, who's had a good start to his afternoon for the Bulldogs. Just a sophomore faceoff man that is starting to go all the faceoff camps, and he is another anchor to what Roslyn is trying to build.
Now, again, back to the community, get that community support, start them young, play multiple sports. Your best programs, your most successful programs have all that going for them.
Final 20 seconds here. Tiong Smith making the save on the step down by Stefan.
So he scores, goes down, makes a big save.
The quick stick shot there from Stefan on the right alley.
Think he's tired after a game?
You would think so.
Just going in and out of the box.
Ethan Gatto rolling on Bell. Final seconds. Here comes the quick slide by Garcia. And good defense by Baldwin. And that is the end of the first.
On that, and then you'll see this extra. On that, they're keeping that ball long periods of time and keeping it out of sticks of Baldwin. Baldwin limiting the defensive penalties. They've done a nice job.
In 8th grade, and saw he's got a perfect build to be a face-off guy, and he has devoted himself to this sport, and he's done well against the combination of Garcia, Casey Cummings, and Dylan Ferguson of Baldwin.
Only a sophomore. He has good size and stature, and he's doing a nice job there on face-off, and they're going to have him for a few more years.
Yep, he had 2 goals as well against St. Dominic's. pushing the fast break. And Fine will pick it up off the grass. Another face-off win. Fine to goal, and Fine's shot is blocked. Romero was able to stand in and take the punishment of that shot for Baldwin.
I think that ball, and when you face off, that's the problem. Sometimes it gets stuck in your stick. I think that ball got stuck in his stick and hung up in there. That ball didn't come out well on the shot.
So Roslyn will keep it with senior Jacob Rusnick. One of the 2 goals for Roslyn. To the outside it comes. Hurwitz shooting wide of goal.
That was a good take by Hurwitz. He dropped that stick down, shot a worm burner. If that was on cage, it would have been difficult to save.
Gatto with a throwback with Rusnick.
Good look here.
Steffen, tight shot in quarters, and Tiong Smith holding that near pipe well.
I like that offensive series there. They brought the ball to X. They cut one man. They filled in behind him on the cut. The second cut was open.
Senior midfielder Henry Bouchel, first-year starter. And now Hurwitz, who's been nicknamed Bobby because he was, after Bobby Bouchel, because he was the water boy for the program as a freshman, and he has made big strides now as a starting midfielder. Now Baum looking to roll back. Baum, the big attack, and back to his left, right into the stick of Tiong Smith.
Good offensive dodging, but Tiong Smith did a nice job of catching that, saving that ball. That was a difficult save. He made it look easy. Good thing he's a lefty, because that's where the ball went, down left and low.
So Dylan Ferguson and the Baldwin offense. So how will they approach and adjust against this Roslyn extended zone defense?
Again, Ferguson takes the ball out there, but if you watch where he is on the field, he has the short stick, but as he started moving towards the back, there was a defender standing right there. He was showing himself to make the slide, effectively taking away short stick matchup. Now he's coming out from up top. Going to have to move the ball quickly against this zone. Pass, cut, dodge. There you go. You pass, and then you cut, and then you get open.
And that's Garcia shooting from a good spot, kind of a high slot area from 8 yards out.
Just a simple give and go. He passed the ball up top to Ferguson, and then he slid down to a seam in the zone.
Vera, and up top Garcia. And the other part, Rick, that we have not seen, I think, to our surprise yet, is Baldwin has not been able to push any transition at all and getting looks off before the defense and the zone defense is able to get set up.
Well, that's a credit to Roslyn. Roslyn's doing a nice job of dropping down deep into the hole or the hub or into the paint, whichever you want to call it, and effectively taking the transition away from Baldwin.
Hurwitz had come up with the ground ball but couldn't find a teammate. And now Garcia, for Baldwin, will rake it to himself and keep the possession.
Garcia did a nice job there on the sideline.
Ferguson, good look. Nathaniel Holmes sweeps across, shooting low. And backup will remain with Baldwin. Nathaniel Holmes, first year in the varsity, very talented athlete, only picked up a lacrosse stick about a year ago. And Rich Gargiulo has been amazed about his progression. He's been looking like he's been playing since he's been 10 years old.
Well, just on that shot alone, that was one of those jump shots. It's hard to teach that. So if he gets effective on that, he's going to be a very good shooter.
He was a varsity baseball player as a freshman before he came to Rich Gargiulo. And Rich had to ask him a second time, are you sure you want to do this? And Holmes did. And he's a junior midfielder seeing a lot of time. And again, it's worth saying again that he's one of the many Bruins that his growth and how much and how quickly he grows will rely a lot on how the Bruins finish this year.
Absolutely. Well, you see here, when Baldwin moves the ball and gets the Roslyn zone shifting, they don't make that one more pass. And I think they got a shot right here.
And it is Holmes there off goal. Recovered outside by Vera. And Garcia outside for Holmes, and it's behind him, and it'll be a turnover.
As I was saying, that's the result of experience. If they can make that second and third pass off the first or second slide, they'll be more effective. And I think that will come as the players become more experienced, the 2 or 3 other offensive players that need that experience. They got to hang in there until they get that experience and playing time.
Baldwin will start, as Roslyn will. They'll both start league games in exactly a week.
Nice clear right there, Ralph.
As he played it over the top for freshman Eli Fastman. What a great name for a lacrosse player, huh?
Got to get away from that sideline.
Baum under pressure. And Romero all over him. Romero strips it. Steffen looking for the pickup for Roslyn. As the two teams rake for it.
They get a loose ball push. It's going to be Baldwin ball. Either way, it's going to be Baldwin's ball because it's going to be failure to advance. You get in a situation, again, they're very aggressive when they... Baldwin's very aggressive on defense. You have to move your feet and get rid of that ball. But they're going to pick your pocket. Rick's asking the official, why so long on the whistle, on the restart there? You're giving Roslyn the opportunity to set up their ride.
So Garcia again, and takes a jab from senior Ben Breitstein. First-year starting defender for Roslyn, as Garcia dodges outside.
Seeing a long possessions right now by Baldwin.
Garcia skips it, pass is knocked down. Tried to find Nick Metzger-Shiro, and the pickup by Matt Foster of Roslyn. As Foster is able to get it ahead, could not connect with a teammate, and vacuuming the ground ball, Jordan Arbouet.
Arbouet's like a Hoover vacuum cleaner. That ball's on the ground. He just sucks it right up and goes to the hoop.
And what a fine pickup as Malloy was able to sign him to a letter of intent. Foster, though, the ball on the ground and another Baldwin giveaway. Now Foster looking for an outlet. And we'll get it here to Matt Luckman. As Luckman able to fire over the top and get it to Jacob Cohen. And Roslyn executes the clear.
That's 2 in a row for Roslyn on the clearing situations that they were able to get it down to their offensive side of the field. And there's that improvement that coach is looking for. Looking to improve on those clears as the season progresses is going to be very, very important to this team's possession time.
Rustic will drop it back. Here's Steffen again. This time better angle, but he missed the shot.
That's exactly the same play. They're going to X. They're setting a pick and bringing the second cutter through, and they're getting them open. Defensive adjustment to that must be made by Baldwin. They're lucky they haven't scored. They're 0 for 2 on it, but they're getting good shots off of it. It's a simple play. Pass to X, pick low, come off the pick. They're sealing.
Now it'll be Rustic with the attackman Ferguson staying in and going to play some short stick defense. Steffen trying to bull dodge through Arbouet.